Topic: Salient features of Indian society. Effects of globalization on Indian society. Q. Despite affirmative action policies, caste consciousness is a part of everyday lives of Indians. Analyzed. 250 words. Topic: Salient features of Indian society. Effects of globalization on Indian society. Q. Despite affirmative action policies, caste consciousness is a part of everyday lives of Indians. Analyzed. 250 words. Background. Affirmative action has been at the heart of public policies towards the socially disadvantaged in India. In India, affirmative action is interchangeably used for reservation, which is a contested terrain. It tries to redress the historical injustices and disadvantages suffered by some groups/communities. The recent mass Dalit protests reflect a dramatic shift in the subaltern response to oppression. It was a catalyst that brought to a boil the deep-seated Dalit rage at the iniquities in the system. Affirmative action policies against caste. Constitution. India has been a democracy in search of both formal and substantive equality. Hence, there has been efforts to address on an urgent basis the cause and plight of the historically disadvantaged groups. Article 15(4) added by the First Amendment to the Constitution 16(4)46, 330, 332,341 and 342 form the core of the affirmative action policies in India's Constitution. Broadly speaking, three types of preferences are sanctioned by the Constitution. First are reservations, which cover a special representation rights of SCS and STS by way of reserved seats in the legislatures, and B quotas in government jobs and educational institutions. The reservation device is also used to a lesser extent in the distribution of land allotments, housing and other scarce resources. Second, preferences target a few groups, SCS, STS, and women, with regard to the provision of certain expenditures, services, and ameliorative schemes such as scholarships, grants, loans, land allotments, healthcare and legal aid. Third, certain preferences take the form of special protections that safeguard vulnerable groups from oppression and exploitation, like measures to prohibit forced labor, measures to curb caste atrocities, etc. The early 1990s, through a revision in the list of the group beneficiaries, affirmative action policies have been extended to include OBCs as well. Legal provisions. Many acts have been passed, like Prevention of SC/Street Atrocities Act 73 Road and 74th Constitutional Amendment Act, etc. Schemes, social, educational scholarships, health schemes targeted on women, economic, Stand Up India, NREGA, employment, subsidies, social welfare schemes have been intended for the lower castes. Success. Reservations were expected to provide opportunities in higher education and jobs to the identified backward classes and excluded populations. This did not happen immediately, but by the 1990s significant changes were happening. Between 1994 and 2004 in the Premier All India Services, Indian Administrative Services IAS, Indian Police Services IPS, Indian Foreign Services IFS, which rank among the most coveted and sought after jobs in the country. On an average 12 to 15% vacancies were filled by SCS, and 6 to 8% by STS. At the beginning of 2005, representation of SCS and STS in central government services, Group A, was 11.9% and 4.3% respectively. In Group B they were 13.7% and 4.5% respectively. These numbers are significant as they show that identified beneficiaries now hold some prestigious positions in society, and this has provided them the avenues for social mobility which didn't exist earlier. Due to reservations, many students from lower castes could get access to high-quality education in top institutes of India, leading to social mobility. Due to Stand Up India, Dalit entrepreneurs got a boost and confidence to take business as a career. Even in social indicators, there have been significant improvement in health and educational outcomes of the lower castes. Failure is leading to increase in caste consciousness. Criticism of reservation policy. The existing reservation policy that has failed to assimilate lowest castes/tribes within the mainstream economy and society has created a sense of dissatisfaction and injustice among those who are denied the benefits of reservation. The policy has ended up as a tool that discriminates against the high caste youths in favor of the low caste youths, sometimes coming from the same economic background. The tool of reservation has failed miserably in removing caste differences and has promoted the caste divide and caste conflicts. It ended up giving preference to more or less the same class of SC/Street/OBC in school/college admission, in jobs and in promotions, as well as subsidies in innumerable programs and schemes, leaving out the poorer sections among them at the bottom. Recent study in Gujarat has shown that the SC, OBC and street households at the bottom are still left out of the benefits of the rapid growth of the state. Legal, 73rd Constitutional Amendment Act. In some places in Tamil Nadu, for instance, rich and powerful caste Hindu groups either forced ballot aspirants to keep off the polls, or fielded hand-picked farm workers as candidates, or auctioned the PRI posts to the highest bidder. In many villages across the country, ballot candidates who manage to win are very often denied cooperation from their caste Hindu masters elected to the post of vice president or as panchayat members. Though a law was passed in 1993 to prohibit manual scavenging, there are 794,390 dry latrines cleaned by manual scavengers, mostly women, in India 2011 census. Despite the positive effects of reservation/affirmative action policies, it has not been able to completely mitigate the worst forms of social and economic inequality and discrimination. Social indicators. In India, the Dalit/scheduled castes are the worst off group that has been at the lowest rung of the society for centuries. They are lagging far behind almost in all indicators, be it literacy, land ownership, to landlessness, etc. Living standards in SC, street and OBC households are much lower than the mainstream population. Woefully little has been done to recognize and ensure their dignity and self-respect. Dalits are everyday victims of lynchings, rapes and violence. Not much social mobility. There is just one officer from the scheduled castes among the 85 secretaries in the central government. Of the 747 officers holding the rank of director and above, less than 10% belong to the SC/SC community. However, out of all central government employees, 23% are SC/STS, but they are mainly in the bottommost rung, occupying more than 45% of say pharmacery posts, in keeping with the tradition of assigning the most menial jobs to them. Judiciary, Supreme Court and other courts have, time and again, used the questionable arguments of merit, administrative efficiency and creamy layer to stall affirmative action in favor of the Dalits, ignoring the social and cultural stigmatization associated with being a Dalit. The latest Dalit movement protesting against Supreme Court judgment has a visceral link with Vamila, with the inhuman intransigence of the caste structure. The countrywide protests were a damning indictment of a centuries-old ruthless hierarchical system. The clear-cut hierarchies and divisions in the caste system offer to political parties ready-made target groups. Therefore, politicization of caste has become one of the convenient tools in the hands of the politicians and hence affects the formulation, execution and implementation of policies that seek to promote equality and justice. The vote bank phenomenon, based on caste politics, has become one of the most significant ways in which the political parties have corrupted the policy of reservation. Simply by increasing the quantum of reservations by extending it to more castes in order to garner a larger vote bank is a weapon being used by politicians for parties' interests. Way forward, the radical rethinking on reservation should aim at by excluding the entire creamy layer from reservation, i.e. developing the capabilities of the deprived and excluded beyond offering them admission to higher education or jobs. Reservation is a policy tool that is used not only in India. In many countries, reservation or other types of affirmative action are used to try to overcome human prejudice. One way to make these measures more acceptable would be to educate children in schools about caste, ethnic, gender and regional diversities and the need for public policy interventions to make society more equal and fair. Conclusion. To ensure social harmony, India needs to squarely confront the pathologies regarding caste and address the relentless socially sanctioned oppression of lower castes.